Hello, everybody, and that was Jeff Pitchell's Fat Cigar you were listening to, and that means it's time for Not Just Blowing Smoke. This week, we're coming at you live from Hooksett, our old classic location.
Old classic.
Yes, classic location. And I've got, as you can see, Nick and Dave with me. Pat is not here tonight. And I'm Pastor Padron, and tonight we are smoking this, the Aladino Classic from JRE Tobacco. This is the Toro size, and it features a Honduran Habano wrapper, Corojo binder, and then Habano and Corojo in the filler. And the whole idea behind this cigar was to have something in their lineup that was not so Corojo forward and was more classic cigar tasting, hence the name Classic.
Oh.
And the question for tonight is, when you call something classic, when you call a whole line classic, that's a pretty bold thing.
It is.
So is this actually classic?
I don't
know. That's what we're going to find out tonight. We're going to find out whether or not this cigar is worthy of the name classic.
Well,
I'm an Aladino fan.
oh yeah, we all are.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I think the thing for me when you see a cigar that says classic, I always go back to, now is it gonna taste like something from the classics?
Mm-hmm.
From something, when Cubans were rolled on the regular, when everybody was using Cuban tobacco, even though obviously, no companies out there right now can get Cuban tobacco and put it in their cigars in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
But, is it going to go that far for me? Is it going to taste like a classic Cuban or maybe a classic?
Have you had a classic Cuban?
Well,
Because what they were aiming for was the Cubans that were made during the 40s through the 60s. I'm pretty sure none of us here had any of that. I don't know. I don't know.
True.
I don't know. So, do we really have a fair comparison?
No, of course
But-
not. But you know what I mean? Is it gonna, for
do
somebody
know
like me where
I've
I
had a Monte
consume,
Cristo number 2,
yeah, everybody has.
and their vintage tastes exactly like a Monte Cristo number 2. Their vintage Toro,
Yeah.
I think, tastes exactly like a Monte Cristo number 2.
Yeah.
So that being said, from my experience, them mimicking Cuban is like pretty much right on.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
I would give them the benefit of the doubt.
yeah. Well, for me, I mean, when I smoked this for the first time, that's what I thought. Man, this is definitely earns that badge of being the classic.
Mm-hmm.
It has that, I would say that classic taste to it. I guess
Classic taste.
that classic.
Like Coca-Cola.
It's a classic.
It's definitely very different tasting from their.
Oh, yeah.
Than the other cigars in their line.
It's not very, you know what I mean. Most of the cigars in their lineup are very obviously, the Corojo forward, and and it mixes in well with, the wrappers and everything that they put on their cigars. But I mean, this one, when they're using the Habano wrappers and the Habano tobacco in there, it really kind of brings a classic kind of notion to the cigar.
Yeah, and while we haven't smoked Cubans from the 40s to 60s, Julio Aroa has.
Oh yeah.
Who's the guy behind this cigar. So I'm going to trust that that's what he was aiming for.
Yeah.
And, the question is, while we don't know what that was experientially, how does this turn out for us as far as being a good cigar?
Yeah.
So while we're smoking this, we're also drinking something tonight.
We are.
Oh yeah.
Nick actually brought something himself.
I
Yes,
did.
he did.
So
Thank you,
I
Nick.
brought. I've had this in the past. It's definitely in my
It's a
rotation.
classic.
It is a classic for me, kind of new classic, because I've the first time I bought this was maybe a couple months ago, and a customer of ours, a friend of ours,
It's already a classic.
it's already a classic, and he told me if it, something that is another, because I'm a big Scotch guy at home, so another brand that I would definitely like to get into is Arbalor, and this is the Arbalor 12. It's about $55 at our New Hampshire liquor store, and I'll read you a little literature about it.
Widow at 12.
A little literature. It's 12-year Scotch whiskey double cast, rich in citrus character. The 12-year expression is a fine example of how the distinctly crisp citrus character of Arbaleur's new distillate is definitely, or not definitely, definitely,
Defiantly.
defiantly? No, it's not defiantly. So,
Definitively.
yeah, definitely softened by double cast maturation. I'm really bad at reading. Wow, I'm really messing this up. Anyways,
It's good.
it's damn good. It's smooth. So when I was at the store, I was thinking about a couple of ones. The one I really kind of wanted to get, where I couldn't find, they didn't have it in, it was Bunnahabhain. Bunnahabhain is another really good. Oh, thank you. A really good single malt. Had some really good characteristics. Had a little smoky, a little peatedness in it, so I was kind of like, I don't know if I want to get these guys into doing a little peated scotch, because I don't want to throw off this whole thing, because this cigar is really smooth, but it doesn't have any of that heavy, just heavier notes.
Je ne sais quoi.
Yeah, some heavier notes. And this is a really smooth cigar, really creamy.
It's
So
not at all what he just said. Do we even know what that means?
we looked that up later.
I don't know if the French knows what that means.
Oh my God. Well, that. Anyways, we'll talk about that later. But I wanted to get that one. But then I'm like, no, you know what? I'll do the Abalor. And the Abalor I know is a really, really good single malt. You can.
Does it Abelard?
It does. I've smoked it with Maduros. I smoked it with Connecticut's, and it really holds up, and it really kind of balances out the cigar that you're smoking with it. And whether it's, like I said, whether if it's a Connecticut or a Maduro or a Cameroon or whatever, it really holds up really nice. And that's what we're drinking.
Yeah. So, what do we think of the pairing so far?
I think it's pairing really well.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to get this down. This is a very earthy cigar to me.
It is, yeah.
And I think that the Arbaleor is really bringing that even more out to me. The retrohale is just it's creamy. There's like some kind of weird spice in this.
In the
I don't know
cigar?
yeah. And I don't know what it is. I don't want to call it baking spice because it's not. But I'm gonna chew on that.
Yeah. Danny, what do you think about the pairing so far? Between the cigar and the Abalor?
Well, knowing your love for peated things,
Yes.
I was very afraid. Since you said you were gonna be bringing,
Well, yeah, we had a
bringing
conversation
something
at
along,
that.
and this has some of that peaty smokiness in it, but it's not near as strong as what I was afraid of. And there's a woodiness and earthiness and off the nose. I don't know about you guys, but I like it apple. I didn't get sweetness. I got apple.
Yeah.
Maybe that's it, but it's like
it
there's
smells
like
really good.
I don't know if it's cedar or if it's
Are you
like
talking about
the
the
cigar.
Scotch? I'm
talking
talking about the Scotch.
Oh, you're talking about the Scotch?
So shut up.
You're so nice, Dan. Thank you.
Well,
You tell we're brothers.
I'm talking
Yes.
about the Scotch, and you start, oh, but the cedar in the cigar. Woo. All right. So I've completely forgotten my point.
Apples.
Yes,
Apples.
I smell apples on the nose of the Scotch.
Yes.
Agreed.
And it goes, those kind of notes really complement the cigar.
It does, yeah.
It does. It's still a pretty strong Scotch to the cigar.
Correct.
But it does complement those earthy notes, those leathery notes, those cedary notes that Dave was talking about. So I think it goes really well. I'm gonna sit on it and decide whether or not it's an awesome pairing or just a good pairing.
Yes.
But it's at the very least it's a good pairing.
Yeah, for me it's the same thing. I mean, the scotches bring a little bit more of the earthy notes in there. There is a little bit of the fruity citrus note in there as well, which is really nice. I do get that little bit of touch of peat right at the end, right in the finish. But I think it really goes really well with the Aladino Classic. I think it's just bringing out more of the earthy notes. It is bringing, for me, it's bringing out a little bit more of that spice in there too with the Corojo and everything. It's doing a really, really good job so far.
I feel like it's like if you took cinnamon and you made it milder by adding vanilla notes.
With
know
the
what I-
cigar?
with the cigar. Like,
Yeah.
that's the sweetness I'm getting. It's like this mild cinnamon vanilla sort
Yeah.
of mix.
There's a really nice sweetness with the cigar. A little bit
With
of
that vanilla bean.
yeah. Yeah, there's a little bit of spice in there too.
You if you smoke the glass, I think you really kind of pick that up, Dave.
Let's
smoke the glass.
Smoke the glass, everybody.
Yeah, it does. It brings out some of the vanilla notes and that you're talking about, and I think that spice, it's a cinnamon kind of spice. So I don't think you're far off, Dave. All right. Let's see here.
Shaky, 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 shaky.
Let's. I don't have my little mouse. I have to do it the old-fashioned way here.
Yeah, baby, smoke that smoky.
What are y'all thinking?
1 second, brother.
Oh, that is a totally different dynamic.
Wow.
You get more everything, and it kind of dies down the long
Finish, yeah. But
Yeah,
it's
the
still
long
coats,
finish.
It's still viscous.
Yeah, but I mean, like before smoking the drink, there was a very recognizable peaty finish on there. Not heavily like an Art Bag or Lafroig or anything like that, or Lagavulin or anything, but I mean,
Vanilla really comes out.
it is, yeah, it's definitely changed the dynamic of the Scotch. It's very
Yes,
nice.
it's.
Maybe even banana.
Are you talking about the cigar, Dave?
With the after you smoke the drink, you get like the creaminess of the cigar. For me, now is more like banana than it is vanilla.
On the nose, you can definitely tell that it's like a banana, even though he probably cemented that in my subconscious, and
You're welcome.
now that's all I
I know,
smell.
right? It's like I don't know.
It's definitely a fruit to the
Banapple?
nose. A banapple.
More banana.
Moving on.
Moving on. Yes, moving on. We've kind of, as far as events at Twins go, you guys just did one here last week.
Know Your Rapper with why can't I remember his first name?
Travis.
Thank
Travis.
you. Yes, Travis Pappenheim.
He when we
He
had
knows his stuff.
he does. When we had it the morning of last Friday morning, we had the
Meeting,
tobacconist. We had our little tasting and stuff. And for me, he was I really was taken back. I mean, him explaining everything and the knowledge that he was presenting, and just his presence was just like, wow, like this guy knows his shit. This guy is fucking knee deep in tobacco. He knows ins and outs, and it was just like, for me, it was just like such an awesome presentation.
That was like the tip of the iceberg at that when he did the presentation here.
Yeah.
People are asking really good questions, and I mean, we're talking like, how do they change the soil? What type of soil does it is? And he starts going in how they get the nitrogen in, and this. He was lifting on stuff you just would like. He knew everything.
Yeah.
Every little thing.
What a guy.
How the fields are taken care of, how they're picked, how they're stored, how they're rotated, how every single step is just like he knows every intricate part of each step, and why they do it, and which is even more impressive than just being able to list off facts.
You're right.
Yeah.
And that was just awesome. Like, it was a really great experience. I hope we do it again.
Yeah. Very, very good.
Not to mention it sold out. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was great too. The next real big event we've got going on at either store really after that is 724 Day, which is 721 this year. Because 724 is a Monday.
Boo.
But it's going to be so the Friday, 721, is going to be the 724 Day party. And it's going to be a massive all-day event at Twins in Londonderry. There'll be specials on 724 cigars at both of our locations, but there's going to be
The
a
party's
big.
gonna be at Londonderry.
The party's going to be at Londonderry,
Yep.
and I'll have more on that as things progress, but you know, we're talking doing a cigar 101 table, a pipe 101 table,
Whoa.
doing bingo. We've got a hot dog machine, you know, like a cart, you know, hot dog steamer, popcorn
724
maker.
gaggers.
You know,
Yeah.
there's going to be live music. There's going to be prizes. There's going to be all sorts of things, and it's just going to be, it's going to be awesome. Hopefully next week I'll have more information for you guys.
Yeah.
We're still nailing down the final things, but it's going to be good all day long. It's going to be good. I'm looking forward to that. It's a big day every year.
That's gonna be a good day.
Yeah. Now it's time for the 724 flashback.
What happened today, Dan?
Weekly segment that highlights historical events brought to you by 724 Cigars. Smoke a piece of history.
Absolutely.
And today's is really interesting. On this day in 2015, the Supreme Court ruled that state bans on same-sex marriage were unconstitutional.
Whoa. What year?
2015. 2015.
Ooh.
Unconstitutional. And basically what that went into was, you know, a couple of things here. Let's see. The state, let's see. Obergefell versus Hodges legal case in which the United States Supreme Court ruled 5-4 on June 26, 2015, that state bans on same-sex marriage and on recognizing same-sex marriages duly performed in other jurisdictions are unconstitutional under the due process and equal protection clauses of the 14th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. So I think the thing being really argued at the time was if you got married to somebody of the same gender as you or sex, who knows what these terms mean anymore,
Yeah.
in a state that allowed it, but you went to a state that didn't allow it, could they say you weren't married because
Yeah.
we don't do that here?
Right.
And the Supreme Court ruled that you cannot.
Ah.
You're not allowed to discriminate that way.
Well, can't
Yeah.
do it.
Mm-hmm. And interestingly, 2 years earlier to the day,
Yes.
the Supreme Court in the United States versus Windsor struck down the provision in the Defense of Marriage Act that defined marriage for federal purposes as a legal union between a man and a woman.
Ooh. Well.
Two very
you go.
interesting things that go for that, you know, the whole gender thing,
Hey.
whatever you want to call it.
They want to get married, let them get married,
You
man.
know.
I mean, who cares at this point in this day and age? It's 2023. I mean, Jesus. You guys want to get married? Go for it. Shit, we'll have it at Twin Smoke Shop. Danny, the Pastor Padron over here, will ordain the wedding.
Well,
And then we'll have the ceremony upstairs and drinks on the house.
wow.
Kurt, I'm just kidding.
Wow. Mhm. I think it's really interesting
Yeah, it is.
that both those things happened 2 years ago. You know, on the
Day.
same on the day. Very interesting stuff. It's really kind of created a whole big firestorm of ideas and you know, states overstepping, the federal government overstepping, you know, and I'm not really in the mood to get into the whole religious part of that whole thing. But, you know, from a, you know, in my mind, you know, the United States is not a Christian nation.
No,
And
we're a melting pot, man.
Therefore, I don't think you can impose Christian morals on the population.
No.
And so, you know, while I personally would not, you know, want to do that myself.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if somebody else wants, I don't want somebody who is, you know, in a same-sex relationship not being able to get health care, not being able to pass stuff to their kids, not being able to
Right.
own property, not being able to get any of the benefits that I do,
Mm-hmm.
you know, because of that. You
Yeah.
know, that's where I am on that issue. I think it's, you know, if in the state we're in, you know, I think you kind of have to have that. And if you religiously disagree with it, that's cool. But I don't think you can say the government has to do it.
No.
That's where I am on that whole thing.
How about you?
I totally am pretty much. I agree with that. Yeah, like the people should be able to believe and express opinions that they want, but they should not. They don't. They you have the right to feel how you do, and you have the right to voice how you do.
Yeah.
You also have the right to be offended, but you don't have the right to oppress your point of view on someone else.
True.
So I think that's the biggest thing that I see as a problem is people are being offended and feel like that's an entitlement that they shouldn't be offended, and that's not true. You do have a right as much as a right as someone has to say their opinion, and you have a, you know, it's your obligation to either be offended or not,
Mm-hmm.
you know, but that doesn't make, what's wrong is when someone oppresses their views onto you, says you're going to live this way, you know,
Right. Right.
so.
I just think, man, if they want to get married, if the same sex want to get married, man, I have no problem with it. You want to get married, go for it. You know, if the state that you're living in doesn't allow it, or they do now, right? So,
Well, I
mean,
don't think you can say no. I think that's what and I think, you know, as far as states are concerned, I think maybe they felt, you know, that, you know, the government saying
yeah,
you
they'll let 'em
can't do it
Yeah,
is kind of overstepping the state's right to make its own thing.
it kind of is. I mean, the federal government's not really there for that. It's more or less it's the state's responsibility to govern its own people. But I mean, hey, for me, how I look at it, the same-sex marriage. If you want to get married, hey, I'm happy for you. Go do it. Welcome to the institution, my friend. You know what I mean? And it just, I can care less. I have other things. I have chickens and dogs and everything else that comes along with that. And I mean, it doesn't bother me much. I just don't care. You want to get married? Go for it. I'm happy for you.
Mm-hmm. Amen.
You know?
Cheers.
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 Weepy secco.
Whippet secco.
Well, there you go. What do you know? And that is the 724 flashback for the day, our weekly segment highlighting historical events brought to you by 724 Cigars. Smoke a piece of history.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
baby.
All right. Let me ask you guys a question.
Oh, what's the question?
Oh.
What do you guys take with you whenever you go out? What do you always have on your person?
Wallet, cell phone, keys, lighter, cutter.
Usually in that same.
It-
I'm
you
usually in
leave
that
yours
same.
around all the time.
98% of the time.
I'm usually packing
That's
everywhere I go.
The intent
Usually
is to
pack
al-
it. Usually have a gun.
Yeah. Well, I'm so
the intent
How many
is
do you?
most-
How many guns do you have on you right now?
two.
Two.
Yeah. No, I'm just kidding. I only got one.
Oh,
I think two. Well, as far as everyday carry, I mean, I have one, but I have
you
my.
have more than one.
Well, no, I have one, but I have rounds too, just in case I have to engage. And most of the times, the statistic out there is, and I'm probably wrong, but if you're engaging, you're going to be putting more than 10 rounds down range most of the time. So I usually have a backup. So I usually have another mag with me. So I'm usually carrying anywhere between 30 to 40 rounds with me, just in case. But yes, firearm.
yeah.
Knife, gotta have a knife.
Knife, yep.
Gotta
always
have a knife.
add that.
No,
Knife
you
or-
didn't say that.
you
said
didn't.
You didn't carry that.
Knife or a
right
multi-tool?
there.
That's,
Right here.
Knife or a multi-tool? I have two
quit
knives.
Knife.
reaching
Knife.
into your butt.
It's on my hip.
That,
on my
that's
butt.
So
not,
it's
not on
usually-
camera.
It's usually
might-
usually got to be. I'm never
I
leaving
got my Damascus Hunter right
with
over there.
my multi-tool and a knife, because you never know when you're gonna need
Yeah.
something. So
That
it's-
was one of the best things in that pack from Travis.
oh
the-
my god,
The
that pen.
Know Your Rapper pack has a pen, and it's
Dude.
got
It's a MacGyver
it's
pen.
got a screwdriver in it. It's got a Phillips head and a
Flathead.
a flathead
that is-
screwdriver in it.
that is an
Level
amazing
and
pen.
he
measure.
that
ruler.
once
The
when he
leveler?
showed me that, I was like, oh, this
That's
is awesome.
like
That's
part of
going with me.
stylus.
That's part of that. I just incorporated that into my EDC. So
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so
Your what?
my EDC, everyday carry.
Everyday carry.
Yeah. So
See,
that's
this is
that's
what I'm getting at. What's your everyday carry?
so that's my
That's
EDC. So
EDC.
so it's a pistol.
DUEDC.
It's a pistol, knife, multi-tool, wallet with some cash, because you gotta have some cash these days.
I never
Because you
carry
never
cash.
know.
Never
Yeah, but you never know. I've been caught in too many scenarios where I had no cash, and I'm like, okay. Like one time, I was driving up to Maine a while ago, and this is probably what it cemented it in me that always carry cash. And I was going up to Maine, and I hit the tolls, and I had no cash,
Well, just
no
blow
cash.
through the tolls. And then
Well,
they
the
send you a
lady
ticket and a thing.
at the time, I was a volunteer police officer, and I showed her the badge, and she's like, "Oh, you're fine, you go ahead." But after that, I was like, "Nope, I don't care if it's $2 or $3 in my dash or on me or whatever." So always cash on me, just in case, because you never know. Wallet, credit card, the pen or the pencil, obviously, phone. That's pretty much it. And lighter, cutter, cigars. Always.
Do you
'cause
always
pipes.
have cigars with
I
you?
always have
always
my
have
pipes.
cigars with me. Where
Always
I'm
have
going
my
to a
pipes.
party where nobody smokes, or if I'm going somewhere that I know a couple guys smoke, I usually always have 5 cigars on me. Constantly.
5.
At least.
At least 5.
Because I usually carry I usually have my traveler with me, my traveler humidor. So it's either 5 or I have like 15 or 20 cigars. So that is what I leave the house with. I do not care. We could be going somewhere where nobody smokes, but there'll always be one guy. There'll always be one guy, because you always take so the last time I went to a wedding, I forgot what wedding it was, but it was me and my wife, my sister-in-law. We went to this wedding.
I don't remember the way, but I remember the booze.
We go to a
and
yeah,
I did a lot of drinking.
oh, speaking of which, the DJ was Baltazar. Remember Baltazar from Jammin' 94.5? Used to be
yes,
the DJ.
yes.
He was the DJ at the wedding. It was crazy. I met him. I'll show you the pictures after.
Yeah.
But we were there, and I mean, nobody was smoking. Usually at a wedding, you get like 1 or 2 people outside, and there was nobody smoking, not even smoking cigarettes. I was like, oh, damn. So we had a little break. My wife was, conversating with old cousins and second cousins and stuff, and I saw a little break, and I'm like, all right, I got 30 minutes. Let's go. So I went outside, and I started smoking cigars, and I saw this guy peeking around the corner, and he came over, and he's like, hey, man, what are you smoking? I'm like, oh, a cigar. He's like, you got another one? I was like, you bet your ass I do. So I went to the car, grabbed the cigar, and we were just me and the only guy in the courtyard just smoking a cigar, which later we got told that we couldn't smoke in the courtyard, so we went back inside. But we were out there for a good 35 minutes. But there's always
Now you
there's-
know why people weren't smoking.
Yeah, exactly. It was probably a non-smoking facility, but yeah. I mean,
Not
I
no
mean,
more.
I don't care if I'm going to my in-laws' house, if I'm going to weddings, if I'm going to a party, whatever. I'm always bringing it just in case, man. That's for me. I'm a cigar smoker. That's what I do, and that's what I bring.
What's your
with me.
EDC, Dan?
Well, phone, the computer.
Of course.
I mean, saying wallet and keys. That's like, where do you go without your wallet and keys? You got to have that.
Nowhere.
You can go.
I
To,
do
you can go to
try-
your front. You can
I
go
do
to front
try,
yard.
like yourself, to carry a little bit of cash on me, but typically speaking, I always make sure I have some kind of, I have some, couple of credit cards for emergencies only,
Of course.
and I have one of them with me, because you never know
Yep.
when something is going to happen. like one of my kids lives in Ohio. If I have to, on the drop of a hat, do something to get out to her for whatever reason, I
Yeah.
want to be able to make those decisions and go.
Yeah.
So I always have that with me. This is kind of weird. I usually have my passport with me.
I know. I saw that the other day.
I have
I'm
my
like, what are you
passport.
doing with your passport? You just ready to do some traveling? It's
You
like,
never
right
know.
out, like that. That's
One of
it.
Kurt's like, hey, you want to go to Honduras? Yeah.
Let's go. Hey
Got
now.
it. Got it. It's the ultimate ID.
Yeah,
you
it's
should-
true. I
you
mean,
you can get into any government building or whatever with that.
pretty much. Yeah.
Ultimate
you know?
ID.
So, always have a. I always
Besides
do
a
have a
real ID.
knife. And you guys will see one of the things I carry with me are nail clippers.
Nail clippers.
It's in
Nail
my bag.
clippers.
I have no clippers. in
Why?
my bag.
Nail clippers because hangnails, dirty
Yeah.
things.
Those
You
things
you
suck.
want,
I
Yeah.
don't want to deal
know,
with that all day.
Yeah,
I
that sucks.
have that. I have that in my bag.
I think that might have to
And-
incorporate into my stash.
And
Body spray.
like you, I go everywhere with some cigars.
Yeah.
Usually 5.
Yep.
I
Pipes.
have I have a pack that holds, the lighter, the cutter, and 5 cigars. So that's typically what I have with me.
Yeah.
But same thing, it's for you and a friend, and of course I have, like you said, pipes.
Yep.
I don't really go anywhere without my dark bird's eye.
Yeah.
You replaced Cumberland?
I have Cumberland almost always with me too. But
Okay. I was getting
Typically-
worried. I was like, wait a minute. That was
typically
a,
speaking,
that was
I
a 20
always
plus year
have
relationship
my
there.
my
no.
bag is over there on the chairs across the room, and both of those, Cumberland and Bird's Eye, are in the bag right now.
There you go.
And 4 or 5 pipes,
At least.
at least. And so I'm always, but I have I typically carry the charger for my laptop
Mm-hmm.
and a phone charger.
Just
I
in
find
case.
that not only I might need it sometime, but other times other people need. the
Yeah.
charger.
I always have like 3 or 4 phone chargers in my bag.
I think that's something that I probably would like to incorporate, like a little,
Mhm.
I gotta-
battery pack or something
I
like
gotta
that.
bring a battery. I have 2 of them at home, and I should have the battery pack with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something else that I usually have with me in the car is a folding chair,
Yeah.
like a camping kind
Really?
of folding chair, because you never know. I've been caught, either getting the opportunity to or being asked to go to the park or somebody's house or someplace, and you want a place to
you
sit.
gotta sit.
And I have a really great chair, and it holds my cigars, my pipes. It's
Yeah.
got a little, like a cooler area. You could put some drinks in there.
There you go.
But I usually have that with me just in case I need a chair.
You know what I also have with me? It just hit me right now. You said chair. I don't have a chair, but I have a first aid kit in my car. So one of the reasons why I had a first aid kit is me and a couple of guys were doing training as far as weapons training, trauma training. So if somebody got hurt, we would kind of know what to do, or at least have a kit so we can kind of take care of, maybe a
Triage yourself.
yeah, you know what I mean. So that's something.
Clear.
Yeah, I have AED in the car
Yeah.
and just hooking it up just for fun,
Yeah.
just driving. Clear.
Try next to the chainsaw.
Yeah. No, that's all that stuff at home. But I mean, oh my God, like a friend of mine, his everyday carry is unreal. I mean, the pistols and knives and pens and his wallet, his Yetis. I mean, that's just on his person. I mean, in his truck, forget about it. He could probably go to war with a
Like
small
watching
army.
Supernatural, it just opens up the bag.
Oh
and
my
it's
God.
Like,
And it's just like he's like that's the one person that I would definitely, if I needed something, he would be the person to call, because he has, first aid kit, tools, weapons, everything that you could, chairs, whatever you get, blankets, whatever you need. He has a full person tent in the back of his truck. He's just ready to go. So if he needs to go, just camp out, he's ready. Love that fucking guy. He's ready to go.
That's a good thing to have, blankets, tent, being, first I gotta check that stuff off a box and
Like
put
I
that in my
got
truck.
most of that stuff, but I have that stuff at the house.
Right.
It's in a closet.
Right.
I have a tent. I have a four-person tent.
Well,
I
it's
got
good to have
folding
the house, but you
chairs.
should have something for like an emergency. Like, what if we're on
Right.
like a nuclear fucking whatever, and you got to go into the mountains?
Well, that would
Oh,
suck.
You know what I
nuclear
mean?
fucking something, and you have a tent. Oh, that'll help.
Well, what I'm saying
would
is,
definitely-
if you got to run away from the
would-
population
it would
and go out
definitely
in the mountains. You know,
definitely
at
stop
least,
with the radiation.
at least you have shelter.
That's true.
Yeah.
But
It's not raining on me, but my skin is glowing. At least I'm dry.
yeah,
That's right.
I can see my lungs.
guys, halfway mark. What do you guys think of the drink, and what do you guys think of the cigar?
Well, we know what you think of the drink, Nick.
you know it. Well, I bought it, so yeah.
I'm enjoying the pairing very much. I almost like what the Scotch does. I almost like what the cigar does more to the Scotch
Yes.
than what it does to the cigar.
Yeah. I've
I
never
like
had this. I never had a cigar
the
with
change,
Scotch.
The change that the smoke makes to the Scotch
Oh yeah.
is amazing, and it's really good.
Yeah.
It brings out some great things about the Scotch, but those flavors from the smoke, that you are kind of on the peripheral of the cigar, just kind of pop with the pairing. The Scotch itself, pairs with a lot of those and is very complementary to the flavors of the cigar.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really change the cigar all that much.
Yeah, which is really good. Like I said, when I called Tom and I asked him, I'm like, I got these two great scotches. I'm like, what one could I go with a light to medium body cigar? And I told him what the cigar was, and he's like, go with the Abalor. Abalor is very neutral. He's like, got some great flavor, but it's not going to ruin a cigar. It's not going to overpower it in any way. It's going to really complement the cigar. So I was like, all right, man, you're the expert. So I went the Abalor. Abalor. But yeah, I mean, both the cigar and Scotch, I mean, it's just a mouthful of flavor.
It totally
it's not
is.
it's not overpowering the cigar, and the cigar is just, it's really, meddling well with the Scotch, and it's like, wow, it's like really nice, and you're bringing in a lot of that earthy, and there's some citrus in there, some spice, and it's just really nice. It's pleasant.
It's definitely a lot of earth and leather in this cigar. Yeah. Definitely.
Dave, what's your favorite guilty pleasure?
Oh, computers.
I don't think
Yeah,
he
probably.
would qualify that as a guilty pleasure.
You gotta make them think.
What's
This
your
one.
favorite guilty pleasure, Dave?
Guilty pleasure? I don't know.
Guilty pleasure.
Guilty pleasure.
I don't really feel
Tater
guilty about
tots.
anything.
Tater tots and Chick-fil-A sauce.
Yeah, that's a damn good one though.
Chick-fil-A sauce?
Chick-fil-A sauce is
sauce.
damn good, man.
Yeah.
I don't even think I know what that.
It's
That
literally
gets you a bottle.
it's sauce that you can buy in the store that's
Yeah.
made by Chick-fil-A.
Okay.
And it's the sauce they use in the restaurant. Only you can have it in your house too. And
Wow, is that a commercial?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
and it is French fries, tater tots, chicken nuggets, it doesn't matter, man. Oh man.
So basically fried processed food.
Fried processed food with Chick-fil-A sauce. Unbelievable. Yep.
Oh boy.
That's that's why it's a guilty. Yes, that's why
That's
it's a guilty, pleasure.
Danny, how about you, brother?
Guilty pleasure for me.
And nutrageous.
I have to admit, I'm becoming a big gin and tonic dude.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No.
I have been trying all sorts of gins.
Talia
It
got you
seems
on the gin kick, huh?
She did. And God bless her soul. I bought a bottle of that Malfi, blood orange gin.
Yeah.
And that bottle didn't even last 4 days.
Oh man.
It
I didn't
just
even
go
have
on,
a chance to
Talia.
look for it yet.
It was so awesome.
Oh boy.
Yeah, it's that's becoming one of my big guilty pleasures is doing that.
Gin.
Well, that's
you know,
nice.
It's like a bottle a week. And when you think about it, if you drink a bottle over a week, that's not
It's not too bad. I mean,
no.
and the bottles are not that big. It's not like you're
They're
finishing
not-
off a handle like
no,
me a week, you know.
Yeah, a bottle over every 7 days. That's not. But it's a bottle every 7 days. And so
Yeah.
it's like,
I mean,
I
like,
gotta,
it's a piece of his check going into a bottle every week. Now.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like,
You add up to a month, and you add up
but
to
it's
a
it's
year.
like
you're oh,
I don't know what it
yeah.
is, but the heat, the summer
Mm.
makes me want a gin and tonic.
I mean,
That it's just
They're
light,
good.
it's refreshing, it's to me and my palate, I just really like it. I really
it's
like
good
it.
stuff. I mean,
know?
the times that we've had June on the show, I mean, I really enjoyed it. You know what I mean? Especially, I remember the first time we had gin and tonic with Paul
Oh yeah, the Hendrix, with the cucumber.
with the cucumber. I mean, that was spectacular.
That was amazing.
That was really, really good, man.
And then
say
the
so.
Monkey 47, that was really
I
good.
wasn't there for that one.
That was amazing stuff. That's another one that Talia reps,
Yeah.
Monkey 47.
What doesn't she rep? My God, she's a
Bud
she's
Light.
Doesn't
Wonder
rep
Woman.
this.
Yeah, you got to get that on your portfolio there, young lady. If you're watching,
All the Glenlivets, she does those.
Glenfiddich too,
Jameson.
right? She does the Glenfiddich too,
I
right?
believe so.
Well, that was the first time that we had Glenfiddich 21,
Oh, that
wasn't it?
That was freaking amazing.
No, that was some dude.
No, that was the first. No, that was. I think that was the first time we had her on the show. We met her. Was
No,
the
it
Glenfiddich
was-
21?
No, it was tequila was the first one.
Was
Why we
it?
call her Tequila Talia.
Oh, my mistake. But get this one
yeah,
in your
it
portfolio.
was a guy that repped it, didn't he? And he went upstairs and he left us the whole bottle. We were all like-
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, yeah.
I can't remember the guy's name,
Mm-hmm.
but he
we were
did.
all
He
like,
left us the bottle. It was very,
That
very
was a
good.
mistake on his
You
part.
guys were all like, Dave, it's downhill from here because it was the first time I ever had scotch.
That's right.
Yep.
Yeah, that's right. Because it probably ruined you
And
for
it
the rest of
was.
your life.
Now
It ruined him.
Tastes the
Ruined
same.
him. Yep.
Guilty pleasure for me.
Another guilty pleasure of mine is cheese and crackers.
Jeez,
I mean, like, who
And I
doesn't like cheese and crackers?
but it's like every night. It's like I have to.
Yeah.
I
I
like
I get that multi-pack at the store with all the different cheese slices from Cabot, you know,
you're spending way too much money, Dave.
and then
Spending
This is-
way too much in
this-
the
you
market.
get-
and a
the
box
block-
of Triscuits.
You get the block of cheese. You get the cutting board that has the knife inside the cutting board, so you always have your knife and cutting board. It's really good. Cut the cheese, and then here's the thing. Here's where I kind of have gotten different. In a vain attempt to con myself into thinking that I'm being healthy, I've gotten into cheese and pretzels.
I've seen you eat that at the store.
Cheese and pretzels, and the rationale behind it is
Yes,
the
what?
pretzel has holes in it. Therefore, it's
my-
less carbs
Oh my god.
than a cracker, which is solid all the way across. And there's something
Less
about that.
surface area.
And there's something about that. And getting on into that, and this may get me banned.
Oh boy.
Here's
we
the
go.
ultimate guilty pleasure.
Dun, dun, dun.
Okay, when you get to the bottom of the bag of pretzels,
Yeah.
what's the bottom of the bag?
Salt.
Salt.
Yeah. You lick the bag.
I dump the salt out onto the plate or cutting board or
You
whatever,
lick the plate.
and I take the piece of cheese
Stuff
and
it.
I
Oh,
and
Dip it in there.
I
press
dip it
the
in
salt into the
press the
cheese.
salt into the cheese,
Ah.
and then
Your
and it-
cholesterol level must
then
be
it
insane
is
right
just
now.
like, oh my gosh, this is awesome,
Oh my
and that
God.
makes you want more gin and tonic.
You know what
which
Stu
we
shared
should.
with me? Speaking of cheese, he shared with me this bag
your
of
Mariabo?
popcorn, and it was Cabot's serious sharp cheddar popcorn.
Cabot's serious sharp.
Yeah, whatever.
cheddar
Yeah, what you said.
popcorn.
Yeah, and as
Shabbat.
soon as you
It's
as soon
not-
as you took a bite of this popcorn, your mouth was instantly coated with this sharp cheddar, and it was it was like the cheese just melted all over your mouth. It was
dare
like
you.
oh, it's so beautiful. Oh my gosh, but they don't. I'm gonna have to buy it on Amazon.
How
They don't
dare-
sell it anymore.
How dare you?
It's so beautiful. Oh. My God, it was the best popcorn ever.
All right, so I think I really pushed the envelope here.
A little bit.
You know, I shared some real guilty pleasures. So are you really going to just stick with tater tots and Chick-fil-A sauce?
Snack.
That's it.
Nutrageous
That's
bars.
your guilty
Reese's
Nutrageous
bars.
bars?
The king size ones. Oh man, I get spoiled with them too. Friggin'
Do you like
Crisp
Charleston
Adventure?
Chews? Do you get the Charleston Chew
No,
bars?
I don't like Charleston Chews.
Do you like the Tootsie Rolls?
No,
Oh, who doesn't
I
like
like
a
my
Tootsie Roll?
Nutrageous.
Apparently, Dave.
Crisp Adventure, he gets them for like less than $1 at his work, so he'll come in on Fridays and he'll hand me a bag filled with like 2 or 3 like king size Nutrageous.
Did
Be
you
like,
just
"Here you go,
rat
Dave."
somebody out on
And I'm
live?
just like, oh.
Sounds like you just ratted somebody out.
Teresa hates it. She's like, you're gonna get too bad.
Oh boy.
Too late.
Sorry.
I guess it's a real guilty pleasure. Kind of
But
borderline.
she's the one who
illegal.
introduced me to the Chick-fil-A sauce, so that's your fault.
There you go, Dave. Right back at her.
Yeah. For me, it's kind of illegal, but it is a
I
definitely
like
a guilty pleasure.
flamethrowers.
Actually, it's not illegal to own a flamethrower
Get to use it.
or a cannon or
Or a cannon.
anything large ammunition type of thing. Speeding through the back roads of New Hampshire on my motorcycle.
It's
I
just
mean,
dangerous. Without
it's
the deer.
very dangerous, but I am
When
a
you say speeding on the back roads, what does that mean?
65.
Going like 60 kilometers an hour? I mean, because that's not really speeding.
It's like 30 miles an hour.
I know. It sounds really fast, though, right?
No.
Road hog.
Yeah,
I remember on an episode,
I mean-
an old episode of MacGyver. He's on the hood of the car, and they're showing the car, and it's going 50 kilometers an hour. I'm like, oh yeah, that's really fast, Mac.
He's going. He's going.
I'm not worried for
Light
you at
speed.
all.
No, for me, I mean, I've done.
Americans are dumb.
I'm a big fan of the TT.
The TT.
Yeah, the Isle of Man TT, which is the MotoGP, like one of the most dangerous races in the world, or one of the most dangerous races, period. And it's MotoGP, and it's not done on like, you're not competing against another person like head up like you would in normal like circuit racing. You're racing against your own time or the top time. So you're taking your motorcycle and you're going through a small town in Ireland, and people have died doing that. I mean, like almost every year people have died. And I'm a big fan of MotoGP, and I'm a big fan of not dying. Obviously, I'm still here. If I was a big fan of dying, yeah, I do.
Let me try that again. Wait, I can't.
I can't.
Dead.
But I love that, and every time I get on my motorcycle and I'm going through the back roads of New Hampshire and hitting the twisties and all that, and I'm like doing a very crazy amount of speeds, a speed that I will not say and I probably should not be doing. But
We have a customer here that drives here doing like around $130
in a car or in a motorcycle, because that's two different things.
in a car. I
Yeah.
don't want to get any more specific than that.
So when you're doing 130, when you're doing 130 in a car and 130 in a motorcycle, it's two different feelings. I mean,
Didn't they just nab a guy for doing 160? Yeah, they did.
so there was that guy that evaded the police. I think he was out in California or Texas.
No, there's a guy who was in Vermont, and then he was in New Hampshire, and then I think in Mass they
Oh.
finally busted him.
Oh, because he stopped. No, it wasn't that guy. It was the guy that
But
was.
he was doing 160. He was clocked.
Oh, he was on 101. He was a Massachusetts resident. And he was. He did pull over for the police officer or the state trooper, but he got clocked at 160, 165, and yeah, I'm not that crazy. I've done speeds like that, but on a controlled circuit. That's all I'm gonna say about that. But yeah, my guilty pleasure is twisting the throttle on my motorcycle and feeling my face and my guts go into my rib cage, and coming down a road where I can just see like maybe a half a mile, and then just twisting it and watching
Be there 2 seconds later.
Well, yeah. Well, you're going so fast. So one time I
I'm
twisted
like
the
that with
throttle
skiing.
on it.
Like I can't just ski. I just bottle
Just
rocket
straight down?
I love it.
So one time
Which is why I
was
don't own a motorcycle.
one time I was going down. I saw I have a digital gauge on my motorcycle, and I saw it go up by 10 miles an hour every second. That's how fast I was going. And I rolled it, and I rolled it as long as I could, and to feel that energy and that speed just completely just engulf you is, I mean, you could probably talk to any motorcyclist or any person that does any type of track time or anybody that does drags or anything like that, and to have that feeling is second to none. I mean, that, and you're seeing the gauge go from 50 to 60 to 75 and just keep going. I mean, like, that is my guilty pleasure, and I shouldn't be doing it because it's unbelievably dangerous, especially doing it on normal roads. Because anything, I mean, like a car can, at that speed, you have no time. Anything above 45 miles an hour on a regular road, you shouldn't do because you have no time to stop at anything.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, the thrill that you get from that is, I mean, second to none. I'm sorry, that's my guilty pleasure. I'm sorry, everybody. But
I'll take my Chick-fil-A sauce.
You could take your Chick-fil-A. I love Chick-fil-A sauce too, but I can have
Speed Racer.
Yeah,
He's a
oh
demon
my
on wheels.
God, I love watching that movie too. I mean, like, who doesn't love? So, speaking of Speed Racer, the cartoon.
Yeah.
Never watched the cartoon, but when they made it a live-action movie,
Mm-hmm.
I cannot. The animation and
The animation's outrageous. Yeah.
the animation's outrageous. The characters that are in it. I mean, John Goodman. Oh my God, what a actor right there, man. I mean, but that whole movie, man. I mean, it was just, I could watch that movie every day, and it's in my top 5, man. I love that
Really?
movie.
Speed Racer is in your top
Speed
5.
Racer. I love that movie. I don't know why. I think it's just the craziness of it and how outrageous the racing is there, and the acting, and not the acting is outrageous, but like just the over the top and just the graphics and everything about that movie. It was just so crazy, but I love it. I just love it. Guilty pleasures.
Nothing to say, Dave?
Nope.
Not about Speed Racer?
I'm not a Speed Racer guy.
You're not a Speed Racer guy. Why do we have him on the show?
I don't know. Well, that's it for tonight, folks. Thank you very much.
See you later.
Yeah. Come on.
What's
the
your-
the original anime? How can you not like Speed Racer?
It was just stupid. Stupid.
Voltron is stupid.
Some stupid kid and his monkey. The car.
That's Chim Chim.
Chim Chim, yeah.
Chim Chim never went in the car.
I don't care.
Who was with
Don't.
his little... Racer X, finding out who... Oh, Dave, I don't know. Yeah, cough right into the mic.
I covered it.
Seriously, though, what are our final thoughts on the cigar? I don't have much left. So by this timer, we're almost done.
I mean, I took Travis. So, when we had our little seminar for the tobacconists at the shop, he encouraged everybody to smoke slower.
Mm-hmm.
To take
I
your
noticed
time.
you're smoking slower.
I am, and I have been since that day, since Friday. I've been smoking.
What about retrohaling, where he says only do it like twice during the cigar? I can't do that. I just so automatically retro.
I've
I'm
been
like,
trying.
Oh shit, I retroed.
I've been really trying to only retrohale maybe 2 or 3 times when I'm smoking a cigar. I've been really, really trying.
Why? What was he saying about that? I
He was saying,
and open the stores.
Yeah, so he was saying that
It's over. Basically, smoke is a foreign substance, and it's overwhelming your senses, and your smell is getting closed off. So, by retrohaling consistently, you're just blowing your palate out of the water.
Yeah,
So
well,
you should
you're
just
not going to
only
be
do
able
it-
to. Yeah, you're not
You're
going to be able
to
to
smell or taste anything.
Yeah, or when you're doing it too much, you're not going to be able to get more depth of flavor in that cigar.
So you lose a lot of the nuances if you do it too much.
Correct.
Yes. 'Cause you
So
overstimulate.
I've been
Right.
slowing it up. I've been really kind of listening to what he was telling us as far as, what
Even
we
how
should
to
try.
ash a cigar, you know?
I've been doing that as well.
Yep.
So I mean,
But like this would be too much for him, and he would just roll it like that, just
That's
to have,
it.
keep some ash on it. but
because I
not-
asked him about, is it true, in his opinion, that if the longer the ash, the better the flavor because it keeps the cigar cooler, and that's kind of like the myth between cigar smokers and aficionados and stuff like that. And he says that it does, an ash does control the temperature, but
You don't need that much.
you don't need that much. You can have a little bit like this here. You can have a little bit, and it will control the heat and it will control the flavor. You don't need the huge ash and stuff like that, or whatever.
Right.
If you're in competition or whatever, and I know they
That
have
speaks more to construction than anything else.
right, exactly. But I mean, I've been really kind of taking his advice and really trying to apply that to how I smoke every day. So
Well, I'm impressed because
I'm with you.
normally you would be gone. I mean,
normally I'd be starting another cigar.
You've already gone through 2 glasses of scotch.
Well, that's nobody's gonna change that.
but, you really need to slow down, Nick, so that you can appreciate the nuances of the liquor. Which
Yes, I know. No, I mean, I don't think that's going to change. I've done that before
no,
too.
it's not gonna
one
change.
thing at a time, Dan.
Yeah, exactly. This is one step at a time. I've actually done that before in the past. I bought,
I'm not a fan.
right, well, not that I'm not a fan. So I went out a week ago and I bought this bottle of Artbeg Hypernova.
Hypernova.
Hyper.
What kind of name is that?
Yeah, right.
It is a very small selection of Artbegs. It's very peated. It's a peated scotch. I love peated scotches. And the first time I had it, it was absolutely revolting. It was just absolutely disgusting, but I loved it. I don't know if I can say that in the same sentence, but it
just
was
did.
it was just the craziest peated stuff I ever had in my life, but I wanted more of it. So I went out and bought a bottle, took it home, and I tried doing that. I tried just sitting there, sipping it. I had one glass, and I just tried to sip it very, very slow and take my time. And I went through half the bottle that night.
How are you the first one done with the cigar, Dan? That's what I want to know.
Because you've both been yapping.
That's true.
You've both been doing a lot of talking. That's all. I've been sitting here listening to you.
Going back
So
and
I've
forth.
had a lot more time to enjoy the cigar, I guess. Nothing bad about that.
Mm-mm.
Nope.
Good.
Just not usual.
Nope. Not usual at all.
What do we got? What else have we got on
backwards
the
sign.
agenda?
That's basically it, dudes.
That's
I mean,
just-
we're basically done.
Just us bantering on about
And on.
different things. You know what I did see
No.
the other day?
Good night.
The other
Bye.
day. No. Secret Invasion.
Oh yeah,
That's
I watched
out.
that too.
I thought it was damn good.
I
What
thought it
is
was
it?
a good first episode.
What is it? What?
Secret Invasion?
Yeah.
Secret Invasion, Marvel.
Marvel?
No.
Secret Invasion? Disney Plus? No.
Never heard of it.
If it's not the Mandalorian, I don't believe it exists.
Pretty much.
So what? Synopsis?
It's
Marvel.
so
Slap.
it's technically takes place. I want to say it takes place after what? After so it takes place after Endgame of Avengers, and Nick Fury's up in
Heaven.
no, he's up in Saber, which actually in the
Do you
comics
remember
it
the?
wasn't Saber.
Do you remember
but
the Skrulls?
Okay, yeah.
Okay, and how they shape change.
Yep.
Okay,
it's technically that.
they've been invading and
Yes,
taking over
slowly.
people. They've been copying people, doppelganging.
Well, technically, the whole backstory is since Captain Marvel, which took place in the 80s, Nick Fury has been promising the Skrulls a new world, that he'd find a new world for their family, because in that movie they had the whole Skrulls nation or whatever left of them tried to, come to Earth and stuff like that. So Nick Fury has been, promising them, for the past 20, 30 years that he'd, find a new world for them to live on, and he hasn't really been holding up to his promise. So they get fed up, and now that's where the whole secret invasion thing comes in. They're kind of slowly infiltrating Earth and everything like that. So, and they're trying to, well, I'm not going to say the rest because that'll
Right.
kind of give the episode
But now you
away,
don't know who's who.
Yeah. But, I mean,
Shoot him. We'll find out.
shoot who?
Everybody.
Everybody? You just start shooting everybody?
Yeah, that's how heroes work.
Yeah.
Yes.
But, I mean,
I know. I'll just shoot everybody.
yeah, I mean, you could do
All right.
that. I mean,
Doctor
def-
Strange has a little time thingy, so you can just shoot someone at their skull. And they
does he
leave it.
still have the
And
time
then
stone?
No, he doesn't have that anymore. No.
He doesn't have the time stone anymore.
No, he can't do
But
that.
that's awesome.
So go back to
doesn't-
when he did have the time stone. We'll bring it.
How? When he doesn't have the time stone to begin with? How are you going to travel back in time
I don't know. They
when
don't
you
need
don't
a
have the? Yeah, you
go
do.
around
You
the
need it.
sun.
It's not really important. It's not Star Wars.
Yeah, that's probably true. Oh boy.
Yep. No, but it looks like it's going to be good. It's 6 episodes. It's not a
Yep.
long thing.
episode.
And I will say this: it's the first Marvel thing that's come out on Disney that's not like mostly funny. It's,
Right.
It's supposed to be a more serious
Yep.
story and plot line.
Mm-hmm.
And so far, the first episode kind of delivered. One of the interesting things about it was, to me, that Samuel L. Jackson was one of the executive producers of the show.
I saw that. That was interesting.
Yes.
So does that?
Hoorah!
So does that tell that kind of?
Motherfucker.
Yeah. So that kind of tells me, not tells me, but if he's having a major role in a series like that,
Mhm.
is he going to be leaving the MCU? Because he's up there in age.
Yeah.
I mean, he's in his what, 60s? Got to be in his 60s.
Mhm.
So is that some kind of cementing? He's making sure that everything goes well, and then at the last episode, he kind of fades out.
We'll see. We'll see what happens.
That's true.
He can't be around forever. But
No, he can't.
Right now, it doesn't look like he's going
I
anywhere.
just can't wait for
No.
Deadpool 3. That's what I'm looking
Oh, come on.
D3, baby.
Wolverine,
Mhm.
Deadpool. I mean, that's just
Hugh Jackman.
Ugh,
Come on.
he's back.
I love it.
He's back. I can't believe that. I can't believe that. I am a huge Wolverine fan. I mean, since the comics, since the animated series back in the 90s. That was huge. I love that. I still watch that to this day, man. But I mean, when he said after Logan, I mean, I was heartbroken. I went to the movies and I was like sobbing.
Logan was a great movie.
I was sobbing through the whole movie because I knew, because he made the announcement, well, the studio made the announcement that was the last movie he was doing. So I was like, oh my God, like I can't believe I'm going to see this movie. It's going to be the last one that he's going to be playing Wolverine. And I was like sobbing through the whole movie because I knew that was it. That was the last movie that I'm going to see him as Wolverine. And then the ending was just like, oh, I can't believe this. I can't believe this is happening.
Yeah.
And then there was some trailer made for Deadpool 3 where Deadpool goes to his grave and like turns the X, and he's like he's like, come on, Wolvie, let's go. We gotta go. Wake up. And I'm like, this can't be happening. And then like what, 5-10 years later, something like that, they're making Deadpool 3 with Wolverine.
Yep.
So
Which in the timeline happens before that?
what timeline?
It happens before Wolverine dies
Really?
because that's in the future.
Interesting. Or is it
That's in our future.
So is it the same? No. So different timeline, different universe, same
No.
timeline,
Same timeline, same Earth.
different.
Before Logan.
Interesting.
Deadpool 3 takes place before Logan.
Ah.
So that doesn't change.
Well, that's nice. So they're not messing with any.
No.
Any. The hell's that word?
It's Deadpool.
Canon.
He's gonna mess
any
with it.
canon stuff. So
Yep.
well,
Well, is the Aladino Classic classic?
I think so.
Is it worthy
There's-
of the classic name?
I think it's classic with a twist of nuances.
Classic with a twist of nuances.
Nuances, baby. Yeah.
Dave.
It's very classy. It's very smooth.
Yeah,
It's
but
very
is it
creamy.
classic?
I think
The question wasn't, is it classy?
It is.
Is it classic?
It's classic because it's classy.
That is a really good answer. Very good answer. I think the cigar, lives up to that. It does have that kind of classic Cuban taste to it. You know, the kind of things you look for in a good Cuban. These are the things you find in this cigar. Julio does a
It's smoked.
fantastic, does a
Smoke-tastic.
fantastic job with the blending, and before I even understood, where the name came from, trying to get back to that kind of classic era Cuban cigar taste. I wondered, why are they calling it classic? It's not like Aladino brought back a classic
Right.
up from their lineup or something. There's the Monte Cristo Classic, and then there's the White Series, the Platinum Series. It's like classic Coke. It's the original Coke. This is different, but it's become one of my favorite Aladino cigars.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, I can smoke anything Aladino makes.
I mean,
I love all this. I have my favorites, but this has become one of those favorites.
yeah. I mean, the Connecticut, the Cameroon. I mean, the one that I probably smoke the most because I love full body cigars is the Maduro.
Even their Candela was friggin' fire.
the
Yeah.
Candela. I mean, is a great cigar. I mean, there's no other Candela in our
That-
walk-in that
That Corojo number 4 though, reserve. Oh,
And the number 4 is really good. Yep.
That's
Man,
my
that's
personal
damn good.
favorite.
Yep.
That's
But
my
I
favorite.
mean, this cigar. I mean,
would
it
turn down-
definitely. I mean, it definitely rounds out their portfolio.
It definitely does. Yeah.
Not that it needed to be
Yeah.
round out because I mean they got
They
the
just made it
Connecticut,
rounded.
they got the I
Between
mean
the Connecticut, the Cameroon, the original Corojo, and the Maduro. Yeah.
yeah. I mean this
And the
Hopefully the
vintage.
Candela. Hopefully.
this is just another wonderful cigar
Mm-hmm.
that they added to their portfolio.
Yep. All right.
Sweet. Thank you guys.
Yeah. Thanks for being with us tonight. Glad you were with us, and we'll see you again sometime next week. And that's not just blowing smoke.